Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here at my next Star Wars Rebels episode review. This one is going to be for Season 1, Episode 5, Breaking Ranks, and yeah, just get straight into it. Pretty good episode, I actually quite liked it. It wasn't as good as last week's episode, but you know, that one had like a lightsaber fight. That was like our first kind of like really huge confrontation of the series, but this one was pretty good. It set a few things in place. We got introduced to some new characters. You know, we got to see a little bit more of the Inquisitor, and just in general, some important stuff kind of seemed to happen here. And it was just very solid. Early on, you kind of may have got the sense that this is going to be another kind of Clone Wars episode where like they're not going to do too much. But by the end, I thought they did some very interesting stuff. Like, it was kind of maybe expecting all of these characters, you know, Jai and Zaire, to maybe just be in this episode only and not be of importance anywhere else. But by the end, I was kind of like, wow. I was kind of worried for these characters, like, oh, are they going to be killed here? How's it going to work? And just in general, it seems like they're setting these characters up that they're going to be here, or they're going to have plots of their own, and sometime down the line, there's going to be something happening with them. So that's exciting to see. And yeah, we also had the side plot of kind of like as Ezra was doing his thing undercover in the Imperial Academy, he was giving information out to the others, and Hera and Kanan were going to go off and destroy this shipment of kyber crystals, which I assume the Empire is using, I suppose, to make the Death Star kind of giant cannon thing, but they didn't make that overly clear. But it made sense that they're trying to stop the Empire doing any of these really like massive kind of stuff that can really damage things. So it makes sense the kind of overall plot of the episode in terms of what they were trying to do. There was actually kind of a goal here, that they're just trying to interrupt the Empire in kind of the biggest ways that they can. And yeah, this showed, I suppose, the trust of the whole group here, that they put Ezra undercover for weeks on end to try and get this done. And the fact that he accomplished what he did was really shows how much he has kind of developed himself. And we're only a few episodes in, and already you kind of get the sense he is a big part of this team, and shows like what he did in there. Like he managed to recruit two people of his own, kind of to join their side, and that was a pretty big moment. And overall, there was some pretty nice stuff here. Like the training sequences were actually pretty fun. Kind of reminded me of that kind of bounty hunter arc that we had, where Obi-Wan kind of went undercover, and they kind of had to prove themselves by doing these tasks. It kind of reminded me like that, but on a smaller scale. The fact that they had to jump up these things, you kind of wonder, like, if all stormtroopers to become stormtroopers have to undergo this sort of training, why are they so bad when they actually come out as stormtroopers? Because anyone who can like actively like progress well, jumping up these platforms, having to be really accurate to fire and like get these platforms activated in the second round, they must be some really strong soldiers, but apparently they're not. So you kind of wonder what's going on there. But still, it was some pretty cool sequences. You obviously had the kind of three of them obviously took their helmets off, and kind of you got their characters, and then there was the one guy who didn't take his helmet off but was a named character who was kind of like the evil guy that like was going against them and getting in their way of their plans. Oleg, I think, was his name. And yeah, there was just in general there was some pretty cool stuff going on here. And then over the time he got Zaire and then Jai on board. And Zaire especially, I think they kind of have set up that he's going to be in the show a little bit more, especially what they do at the end of the episode, that he has this whole thing where he's staying there to find some sort of information about what happened to his sister, who was who was at the academy before. She was excellent, and she's gone missing, and he wants to find out where she is. So that was a cool idea, that this guy just wasn't loyal to the Empire. He was just kind of there for his own purposes to kind of find his sister. Ezra understood that and kind of made him part of the team, and then Ezra had become friends enough with Jai that initially he had to kind of betray him a little bit, and in the second round, and then eventually he brought him on board when they realized that, okay, the Inquisitor's coming, we have to do this tomorrow. And yeah, I think Jai maybe was just a character for this one episode, and then maybe he'll come back at some point later down the line. It was just cool to see that he was voiced by Dante Bosco. Like, it took me a few lines to realize. I was just like, wait, Zuko? And I was like, yeah, it's Dante Bosco, Zuko's voice actor. So that was pretty cool to see. Um, yeah, by the end of the episode, they're going to bring him back to his mother, and they're going to go into hiding. Maybe there'll kind of be a reunion between the three of these kind of teammates, I suppose, in the Imperial Academy. I think Zare definitely seems to be set up as something more. Just by the end of the episode, the Inquisitor kind of takes him off and is going to interrogate him. And you also get the sense that, like, is he gonna like brainwash him or something like that? And then the next time, like, they encounter each other, like, Zare's gonna have to like fight Ezra or something like that. That almost seemed to be the setup, and then there'll be some kind of this friendship that was there is kind of like broken now, but not really sure. Either way, he seems to be just doing something to there to get the information from him about Ezra, and you definitely see that the Inquisitor has definitely taken a very kind of personal kind of look into Kanan and Ezra, and he's very eager to hunt them down. So that's pretty fun. And yeah, other than that, like, there was some pretty cool stuff. Zeb and Sabine weren't in the episode that much. They kind of were Ezra's backup on the outside, and there was a pretty cool moment for Ezra where the plan was for him to come out like a day earlier, but it didn't happen, and so he sent a message out with Chopper, and basically came up with a pretty good plan himself. Actually, I thought that just the whole idea where he's just like, okay, you guys attack at 12, the Inquisitor's coming, use that as a distraction to get me out, and that ended up working out. And just other than that, it was just solid episode. I don't think there's a huge amount to say. We got to see some more Agent Callus. They went to get the obviously decryptor thing to find out where the shipment was going. I suppose it was just nice to see Callus again. That he's going to be like in a bunch of episodes as their kind of like, not their main enemy, but just that guy that they kind of always come across and they can beat usually most of the time, but he's always a kind of thorn in their side. And yeah, the ship on ship kind of combat towards the end of the episode definitely was the kind of side plot of the episode, and that they didn't devote too much time to it, and there wasn't really enough time to build to anything overly dramatic. But for what it was pretty cool. Kanan going on the Phantom to distract all the TIE fighters, so Hera could focus just on the main three ships, and then in nick of time she fires, destroys the hyperdrive and the whole ship, and they just barely escape in time. It's just kind of all of those moments, they just barely did this, barely did that. So that was fine, and yeah, by the end of the episode, it's they accomplished what they needed to do. I would have liked it if they had explained a bit, like, why it was so eager to destroy these Kyber crystals, or the shipment of Kyber, as they just said. They didn't even call them crystals. That sort of needed an explanation, because right now it's just like, okay, we get it, you need to destroy this shipment, but why do you need to do this? Because obviously we know Kyber crystals are used for lightsabers at some points in time. I think they've more or less confirmed that that's what the crystal that's used to focus the blast of the Death Star, the main kind of cannon. So maybe that's some sort of a setup for that they kind of halted that shipment, and the Death Star won't be as quickly up to operational standards or whatever. But anything else to talk about in the episode? Yeah, you kind of see just Ezra's character development already. You even get that moment where he kind of says to them at the end, just like, "Hey, I never realized how much I'd be helping other people," or stuff like that. And then you kind of just get the thing about, like, so what was it like being on your own again? And then he was just like, it was fine, but I did miss you guys. So that's straight up development from like the Spark Rebellion movie, where he was very much on his own and wanted to stay on his own and not be kind of around friends. But here you see that he uses his backup, his friends, very well, and helps them out, and is in a much better situation because of that. So that's fun. And yeah, they just continued the fact that the Inquisitor is searching for Ezra, and he's very eager to get his hands on Kanan and Ezra. He's going to be like the main villain, I assume. And yeah, I suppose I'm just waiting for the main plot to really kick in. I assume right now the main plot is just the Inquisitors searching for them while they're accomplishing these other little goals. But I'm just kind of wondering, when is it that big end goal come into play? Like, are they going to find out about the Death Star and try to destroy it, or something like that, or is there going to be a really big goal that they want to accomplish and that comes up? Right now, it's very character focused, with just some kind of like character rivalries, the focus of the story, which is fine in these early episodes. But I think at some point they're going to need like a big story kind of focus, and they're definitely setting up some things. I think Zer and Jai are perhaps set up for something down the line, and yeah. Other than that, I'm just hoping that Sabine gets more focus in the episode, because right now she probably has had the least amount of screen time in the show so far. Her and Hera definitely right now kind of have had the least, but hopefully that happens soon. I know there's a clip of the two of them in a kind of more kind of a spooky scene. They investigate some old kind of Clone Wars hangar and see some ships, and there's some stuff happening there. So maybe that episode's coming up really soon. That should be exciting, because I really want to learn more about them. And yeah, still the hope of like backstory. I really hope we do get backstory, and that they're not adverse to using flashback to show it, because I think for some of these characters it's kind of like essential to show flashback. Like, I think Hera and Sabine probably, like, just because we know like Hera must be related to the guy from the Twi'lek guy from the Clone Wars. Her second name is Syndulla, and there's the Syndulla rebel guy who's in the episode with Mace Windu in the Clone Wars. I can't remember what his first name is, but him. So she obviously has kind of rebellion kind of in her family. So that'd be a cool flashback to get, something like that. Her learning from her father. And then Sabine, definitely just explanation on like where she came from. I assume Mandalore or something like that, and where the Mandalorian armor came from. But yeah, that's been the review. Solid episode. Just early days still, but I think it's very solid opening. So I'm very pleased so far. But yeah, that's been the review. Thanks for watching, and bye.